What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Blazers Uprise Live here on a Monday. Today, we get to talk about the one thing that must improve for your Portland Trail Blazers. But before that, we got 4 games for picks against the spread. A light day for picks today. Eric's actually here. What's going on, Eric? How's it going?
Hey everyone. Hey Tori. Good to be here.
Yeah,
Can
man.
read
Good to
off
have you.
injuries for you.
Yeah. Good to have you here, man. I mean, I've been struggling with technical difficulties on my end, so it always makes it easier to have Eric here. 4 picks against the spread, man. I'm getting used to not having you here, which it kind of sucks. But happy to have you here for today, as we got 4 fun games to choose from, and I'm excited for the topic that we have today because there was some stats that I saw today, man, and there's just something with the Blazers that pretty much the entire team sucks at, and we have to talk about it. Eric doesn't even know what it is, but he might have a guess.
And then I also have a couple of random bonus things to mention after that.
That'll be fun. I'm looking forward to that. Anyway, let's jump into picks against the spread. Let's take a look at the standings. Eric, I'm sure you're happy you showed up just because you continue to lead our picks against the spread. Standings 52 and 36. Crushable's 3.5 behind. Trevin 7, so it looks like you'll probably lead us for another day, given that we only have 4 games today. I'm very mid this year. I'm 500, but 500 is good for 4th place. As a whole, we have really struggled this year, and we have to pick it up. We have to do better because we have a .472 win percentage. That's pretty bad for picks, so hopefully we can turn it around. Hopefully we can have a good above 500 day because it feels like we haven't had really any of those. Last Monday, we did this a week ago because obviously Thursday was Thanksgiving. We were 57 and 73. We're now below 500 on double downs as well, so hopefully we can turn things around here with game number 1. You got the Atlanta Hawks hosting the New Orleans Pelicans. This game's about to tip off. Atlanta is a 9-point home favorite.
All right, in this one, the Pelicans are without Zion Williamson, Jose Alvarado, Jordan Hawkins, Herb Jones, and Brandon Ingram. The Hawks are only without Cody Zeller and Seth Lundy. And thanks to Brendan once again for always having us with the injury reports. Appreciate it, Brendan.
Yeah, makes our lives a lot easier. Also, Vunid from our Discord will be picking chat's double down today. They won that privilege on our giveaway night last night on our post-game stream, so...
Is he here?
I messaged on Discord, so should be good. Yeah, they're here. All right. So, did anybody send you their picks in the Discord, Eric?
Not a single person, but I see lots of people in chat. So
awesome. Love to see it. All right. So I am.
Let me know when you're ready.
Yeah, ready to. Did I leave? No, my phone's up here. I was gonna say, did I leave my phone in my car because I have to read off text? All right. I am ready to go, Eric. What we got for this game?
Pelicans for Javon, Jackson, and Eric.
All right. I'm going to go Hawks.
Hawks for Torrey, Zach, Trevin, and Connor.
All right. And then from my text, we have Pelicans for 503. We got Hawks for Steven. We got Hawks for Crushables. And we're just waiting on Brendan and Aeromancer.
Brendan is Pelicans.
All right, and Aeromancer?
Aeromancer is the only person.
MIA. Shame. All right, Hawks 73% of the vote for chat. So right now, this is a 7v5 in favor of the Hawks. Arrow will hopefully make his pick soon. Game number 2, we have the Boston Celtics hosting the Miami Heat. The Celtics are 9.5-point home favorites.
All right, we got for the Heat, they're without Josh Richardson, Nikola Jovic, Khalil Ware, and Kevin Love, and Jimmy Butler. Celtics are without Al Horford, Drew Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis, and Sam Hauser.
Chat, there's your poll. I'm rooting for blowouts today. I'm going with the Celtics.
I'm also going Celtics.
503 is going with the Celtics. Steven is going with the Celtics. And Crushables is going with the Celtics.
How could it get hold of Arrowmancer?
Tagging him. Yeah, just tag him. I'll tag him. You can read off stuff in chat.
All right. We got Celtics for Javon, Brendan, and Connor.
All right.
Heat for Trevin, Zach, and Jackson.
Bringing it back there with the points on the Heat. And chat is going Celtics, 86% of the vote. Which makes that currently a 9v3 in favor of Boston. Alrighty. Game number 3, we have the Minnesota Timberwolves hosting Los Angeles Lakers. The Timberwolves are 7.5-point home favorites.
All right, injury report for this one is Lakers without Christian Wood, Jared Vanderbilt, Bronny James, Jackson Hayes, and Austin Reeves with a pelvis issue. Timberwolves, Joe Ingles, and Rob Dillingham out.
Alrighty. I'm gonna go Timberwolves.
Alex Wolf says easy win for Memphis with no Bronny, except they're not. Memphis isn't playing in this game.
Funny, man.
All right, we got Lakers for Connor, Javon, Jackson, and Brendan.
All right, the four amigos. There we go.
Arrow gave me his picks finally, or gave us his picks.
All right, what do you go for this game?
Lakers for this one.
All right. 503 went Lakers. Stephen Vaughn went Lakers. Crushables went Lakers.
Zach and Trevin, both Lakers.
What are you going with?
I feel like the right play is the Lakers and the points. So I'm going to take the Lakers and points, even though I'm tempted to go against what I always say and take the unpopular pick here.
Chat went Lakers, which means I have an island.
Nice.
I have an island. Also, I was told to take Timberwolves by none other than Borna, aka Hogwatch. So if I lose my island because of this, it's not my fault. All right.
Yeah, double bouncing.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know about that.
No, you have to.
That's not a rule. Stop trying to invent rules and place them upon me. I cannot be ruled over. All right. Fourth and final game, we have the Chicago Bulls hosting the Brooklyn Nets. Chicago is a 7.5-point home favorite.
All right, in this one, we got for the Nets, they're without Bojan Bogdanovic, Noah Clowney, Dorian Finney-Smith, Zaire Williams, Cam Thomas, Ben Simmons, and Cam Johnson. The Bulls are without Patrick Williams and Kobe White. You're still muted if you're saying so.
So who's starting for the Nets?
Well, I didn't say Claxton, right? So let me see if I can find there.
Jackson Bulls, Javon Bulls, Brendan Bulls.
Nets will start Dennis Schroeder, Keon Johnson, Tyrese Martin, Wilson, and Claxton.
All right, then I am going Bulls. We got Bulls for Jackson. I said that. We got Bulls for Trevin. Arrow went with the Nets. Oops. All right, there we go. All right.
Arrow went Nets.
Zach says, "Oh, Nets." Does that mean he's going Nets? My pick is not the Bulls. Didn't know who they were. Didn't hear who they were playing. All right, you're going for the team that's starting Keon Johnson. Good luck. Eric, who are you going with?
I'm gonna take the Nets too. I'm gonna take the points. Let's go.
All right, I'm taking the favorite in every game. I just want
Dennis Schroeder masterclass.
We'll see. We got Crushables going with the Nets. We got Stephen Vaughn going with the Nets. We got 503 going with the Bulls. And what is Connor going with?
I hate this game. This is gross.
Oh, he said Nets up above. Okay. Not used to him making his picks early.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, chat went with the Bulls.
Connor died, he said. That sucks.
That sucks.
R.I.P.
Glad you're still here, though. 7v6 in favor of the Bulls. And then Arrow. What Arrow go on game number 1 and number 2?
He went with the Hawks in the first game, Celtics second game.
All right. The problem is I can only choose 2 games to double down from, right? So you said Celtics in game 2. All right. I guess I will double down on my island.
Why can you only choose 2?
Because these 2 games have tipped off.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, would have started 10, 15 minutes earlier if my computer didn't have an aneurysm. So, you know what? I'll be a man and double down on my island.
Crap, that means I can't double down on the first 2 games either.
I don't think you've seen the scores, right?
I haven't, no.
I trust you. I don't know if I trust the people picking in chat.
Well, people are picking Lakers.
Stephen Vaughn double down on the Hawks. 503 double down on the Celtics. Crushables double down on the Lakers. All right. What else we got? Arrow double down on the Celtics.
Yeah. Jackson and Trevin Bulls. Javon and...
Slow down. Slow down.
Sorry.
It's double down, so I have to select all the logos and put them on all the names. All right. So Jackson and Trevin were Bulls, you said?
Yeah.
All right, and then what else we got?
Javon and Brendan are Lakers.
All right, they want to go up against me. Bold choice. All right, so we need
Connor
and you.
Connor says he would have doubled down on the Celtics. I'll trust him. Zach is Nets.
What in the world did my computer just do? Okay. Nets for Zach. And what are you doubling down on there? You said the Celtics, right?
I wanted to, but I'll be fair and just do one of the later games. And I'll go with the Lakers, I guess.
Alright. This is where I gain ground on Eric, everybody.
Yep.
Alright. Chat's double down, as selected by Vunid in our Discord, is the Atlanta Hawks.
Nice.
I made this pick beforehand, so Atlanta, we'll see if that pick comes through. Steven Chat, Atlanta, Jackson, Trevin, Bulls, Zach by himself with the Nets. I'm by myself with the Timberwolves. That is an island pick. And then you got Javon, Brendan, Crushables, Eric with the Lakers. Today's either going to be really good or really bad for me. All right. At least we're going boom or bust, right? Feast or famine. That concludes picks against the spread. Shout to BetUS. Those are all BetUS spreads that you can get in on with promo code YouTube150. All right. So the conversation that I want to have, Eric, or do you want to share your stuff first? Because you have a surprise.
Totally up to you.
You share first, because I got to pull up this.
All
graphic.
right. Well, the first thing I have is the ESPN released their top 25 under 25 today.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. How do you want to guess where any Blazers fall on that list?
I believe Simons is 25, so he's not on it. I believe the only guys that have a chance of making it are Sharp and Klingon, maybe Kamara, and maybe Scoot if they're still buying the hype. But I think like Sharp might be like 21 and Klingon might be like 23. That's my guess.
The answer is 0 Blazers made the list.
Oh, man. Great rebuild, guys. We have no top 25 under 25s. I mean, so it's like Benedict Mathurin on that list?
No, he did not make it either. They have Wemby, Anthony Edwards, Bankero, Wagner, Holmgren, Halliburton, Maxey, Mobley, Jalen Williams, Şengün, Scotty Barnes, LaMelo Ball, Cade Cunningham. It's hard to argue with anyone so far. Darius Garland, Brandon Miller, Zion Williamson, Jalen Johnson, Jalen Suggs, Derek Lively, Jalen Green. That's where it starts to get iffy. Tyler Hero, Amen Thompson's down there at 22. Dyson Daniels, 23.
Dyson Daniels above Sharp?
Yeah.
All right.
Tari Eason, 24.
Okay.
And Bilal Coulibaly, 25.
Okay. All right.
No Avdia either. Yeah, Avdia's technically only 23.
Oh, yeah, he is.
So you always
the
forget
best
that,
players
right?
now?
I guess. I don't know.
Avdia is better than Coulibaly right now. Avdia is better than... You make the case he's better than Tari Eason. Yeah, I forgot Denny. Yeah, is under 25. I think Sharp deserves it over Dyson Daniels. I don't really understand that. I know Dyson Daniels is really good defensively, but okay, you can make a case for Dyson Daniels over him. I don't have too much of a problem with that list. I mean, we still got some young guys that have some things to prove, right? And some development left in them. So that's interesting.
Yeah. And then my other thing is Forbes had a article about a trade the Toronto Raptors should explore. Have you seen this story?
No.
And this guy, his name is Morten Stig Jensen for Forbes magazine. He has a whole article about how the Raptors should trade for one DeAndre Ayton.
I guess that's a team we haven't explored before. They have Pirtle, though, because somebody's brought him up, and it's like they got Pirtle.
Yeah, so...
But Ayton is younger? What's the article say?
Yeah, so basically, Ayton is around the same age as their core three of Barnes, Quickly, and Barrett. So he's... I feel like that's horrible Portal will fit with those guys. So,
Yeah.
but he was saying like those guys are mainly perimeter guys, and they need a big man or whatever that fits in their timeline, and then they could maximize Pirtle either as a trade chip or, just play both, have two centers or whatever, one defensive center and one offensive center. Um, and then he suggests Bruce Brown and Chris Boucher as the return coming back to Portland. Just strip both expiring contracts, salary dump for Portland. They could probably flip one or two of those guys too.
Yeah.
I mean, I love it from Portland's perspective.
Oh yeah, I mean that's expiring. So you'll take that. Bruce Brown has flippability. Chris Boucher has flippability. Like I actually like the idea of getting back those two pieces, seeing what you can flip them for, maybe as part of the same trade. I also think the alternative could be Jakob Pertl gets traded to a third team and Toronto gets, their draft picks or whatever, but the salary to match Pertl from that third team could go Portland's way instead of a guy like Bruce Brown. So, like, what's a good landing spot for Pertl off the top of your head?
Phoenix.
All right.
I don't know. They can't combine it.
No, they
But
can't. They can't.
I saw a thing about Grayson Allen. I think he makes like 16 and a half. It's not enough.
And Pertl
Yeah.
makes almost 20.
Yeah.
And Nurk, they can't even match him with Nurk.
No.
I think the center for the Suns is Valanciunas.
Yeah.
At the deadline. But what's like another destination that actually works?
Well, it could be Lakers.
Yeah, so let's say it's the Lakers. The problem is the Lakers have like no expirings. I wouldn't want any of those contracts back.
D'Lo's expiring. I don't know if they trade him for.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you send D'Lo to Portland and the Lakers get Pirtle. The Lakers send the Raptors a pick. The Blazers get Russell instead of Brown, and they get Boucher as well. And Ayton goes to the Lakers. Or not the Lakers, the Raptors. So that trade would work financially. You get back Russell instead of, I'll just say the whole trade. So, like, the Lakers get Pirtle. The Raptors get Ayton and a pick from the Lakers. The Blazers get Boucher and D'Angelo Russell. So Boucher from the Raptors, Russell from the Lakers. You can substitute out D'Angelo Russell with someone else. And you can substitute the Lakers out with someone else. So any team that needs a center that has an expiring, that has a pick that they can give the Raptors, because the Raptors will want a pick, is in play there. And maybe you can extract a little bit of extra value from one of the two teams if you're really, really lucky. I don't hate it.
Yeah, to be fair, I don't think Masai does this either, as someone in chat says. Brendan says in chat. But, yeah, I mean, if all it takes is for one team to want to do that, and that's two good expirings that I would love to have.
Yeah.
Maybe Orlando? Pirtle? I'm just trying to think of a...
They got no expirings.
Yeah.
But if you're not go ahead.
I mean, we could still do our part of the trade, and those expirings could go back to Toronto.
Yeah.
Or the non-expirings. Maybe they're willing to take Sauer or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't hate the idea of if you're looking to trade Rob Will too on top of Ayton, I don't hate the idea of getting back Kelly Olynyk because this team needs shooting, and it would be good to see these guards next to a stretch five, and he's making $13 million this year and next year, right? Like maybe you include Thibault for Olynyk or something strange, and maybe they can keep Boucher, and I don't know. Like you can get creative with some of the pieces here and how it all functions. I don't hate the idea of Kelly Olynyk as a backup five behind Klingon next year, just to provide the spacing that we need. I know he's not the greatest defensive big man, but that's why you have Klingon. So it would be interesting just to see the contrast and actually having a legit stretch five next to our guards to pull the opposing big out of the paint.
Jonathan Evers says Atlanta could use that Capella contract, and
yeah, we've talked about like Ayton to Atlanta, but it's Capella matches like straight up. So for Pirtle, instead of having to attach like Nance. So if you did Pirtle for Capella could go to Portland, right? You can maybe even send Boucher to Atlanta. They'd have to send out like Cody Zeller and David Roddy.
Or Buffkin or something to...
Or David Roddy and Garrison Matthews to stay under the tax, because they're like a little under $5 million. So if they want Boucher, you could try and work something like that. Or, you know, maybe they want like Bruce Brown. Maybe you send Bruce Brown because they need a third guard, and that would actually be an intriguing third guard for him. And maybe that's when Nance gets tossed into the deal to like Toronto or something. Or I guess Bruce Brown and Pirtle probably match Ayton. Yeah. Bruce Brown and Pirtle match Ayton, and they could take back Nance as well. I need to throw this up on the screen.
Bruce Brown and Pirtle don't match Ayton. There's like 10 million more.
Yeah, it's like 10 million more. Yeah. So the Raptors could take back Ayton and Larry Nance Jr.
Yeah.
Right. For the Hawks, they'd have to trade out Capella, Larry Nance Jr., and then like Cody Zeller, send him to Toronto, and then like David Roddy, we could take him on as an expiring, and that gets Atlanta under the tax. And in that trade, Portland would get a $11.8 million trade exception. They could use the Malcolm Brogdon trade exception to take on Roddy. Even if you flipped Zeller Portland's way, you could use the trade exception on both Zeller and Roddy. So the trade exception generated would be Ayton minus Capella, which is 11.8. So yeah, I mean that's a creative trade. You can get creative with a third team for Pirtle because I think we'll have more of a market and his contract is cheaper. So how can you extract any value or any pieces that maybe you want to take a flyer on, just like they took a flyer on Delano Banton? That is the type of trade that would result in the best case scenario in a return package for DeAndre Ayton, in my opinion. It's good because Toronto has the expirings. Haven't really thought of them as an example, but yeah, Ayton does match their timeline, and it would allow them to move off Pirtle and have his replacement and actually extract value for Pirtle. And it's not like they have to give up anything for Ayton. But does Ayton resign there? You know, like there's some iffiness to it, but that's interesting. It's definitely interesting.
Yep.
What I wanted to talk about, and this is part of the reason why I wouldn't mind getting a stretch 5 backup if they were looking to move off both Ayton and Rob Will. So, the one thing that the Blazers really need to improve upon is their finishing at the rim. Their finishing at the rim has been abysmal once again this year. I think there's maybe situational things that could come into play there, but still, that is a skill that this team struggles with across the board. So according to Dunks and Threes, the Blazers shoot the 28th best. Let's see here. Offensive shooting. The Blazers shoot the 29th best percentage at the rim. The only team worse is the Charlotte Hornets. Blazers are second to last in percentage at the rim. Last year, the Blazers were also second to last in percentage at the rim. And when you go down a list of players, there was a graphic shared in our group chat today. Shout out to Trevin. Of course, it's Trevin for sharing this. All right, this is, where was it? It was percentage on layups per game. I was looking at the wrong graphic. All right, layups per game in the regular season and their percentage on them, all right? I'm going to read off each Blazers' percentage on layups, all right? And a lot of these are very, very bad, okay? What would you say you should be shooting on layups, Eric? Like at least 60%?
Yeah.
Anything below 60% is bad, all right? Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Well, actually, we can go and look at like... This is percentage at the rim within 5 feet, but the average percentage, the 15th place team shoots 63 to 64% within 5 feet, all right? So, Blazer layup percentages with that context in mind, Scoot Henderson shoots 53%. Bad. Shane Sharp shoots 61%. That is going to be one of the highest numbers on this list. All right? 61%. Still probably a little bit below average, all right? But not as bad as some of these other players. Jeremy Grant, 46%. Robert Williams, 64%. Okay, that's fine, but he is a big man, athletic, around the rim guy. Denny Avdia, he's gotten some heat for missing too many layups this year, but Denny Avdia is shooting 51.5%. Anthony Simons, 46.4%. And are you ready for the roughest one of them all?
Yes.
Toumani Camara, 40.3%. As a reasonably athletic forward. 40% on layups for Toumani. Toumani, like, for this season, was shooting a higher percentage on threes than layups, probably. Which is insane. Delano Banton, 51%. Donovan Clingan, 46.5%. Really bad for a 7'2 big. DeAndre Ayton, to his credit, 75%. But he only shoots 2 a game. 2.3 a game.
So weird.
Yeah. That's Ayton for you, man. He loves his mid-range. Okay. Chris Murray, 1.4 at 48%. And Ryan Rupert, 1.2 attempts a game at 50%. Down the entire lineup, we cannot make layups. We cannot finish around the rim. Eric, to you, is that more of like a skill issue with some of these players, or is that more of a situational issue where we collectively are finishing worse due to a common reason?
Well, I do think we don't have the greatest finishers, so that is definitely the main reason. But when you're near the bottom of the league in three-point shooting, teams don't have to fly out and compact the paint. When you have a big man that stands around the free throw line and clogs the paint as well, it makes it tough also. I just think because I felt like at the beginning of the season, the Blazers were actually outscoring teams in the paint, and they were making it a point of emphasis to get in there. And that seems to have faded a little bit. But
I mean, they still shoot the most attempts at the rim in the league.
Yeah.
So I think that's also part of it, is they will force anything around the rim.
Right.
Like,
yeah, I think, and that's one of the minor reasons too. I feel like no one has any awareness in terms of like when I should shoot it and when I should. It's not there. It just seems like they are forcing it. I don't know if that's by design, if that's the way Chauncey wants it to be, but it does feel like, especially with like Toumani and Anthony and some of the guys Sharp that aren't shooting that well from there, it does feel like it's like they're just trying to shoot the layup even if they don't have a shot. So
yeah, I will say this. Out of the top 7 teams in rim attempt percentage, the top 7 teams that attempt the most shots at the rim, okay, 6 of them are in the bottom 10 in rim finishing numbers, or like 20th or worse, okay? Also, 6 of them are 20th or worse in terms of three-point percentage. I do think that's an intriguing statistical trend, okay? The only team that's not at the bottom in three-point percentage in the top 7 is Denver, but they have the 21st best rim finishing percentage, but they have the 3rd best three-point percentage. And vice versa, the only team finishing in the top 20 at the rim that's shooting in the top 7 in terms of attempts at the rim is Orlando, and they're 11th in rim finishing percentage, 5th most attempts at the rim, which kind of makes sense if you look at the roster. But they are also the worst three-point shooting team. So there does seem to be a trend in terms of teams that don't shoot the ball well, try and get to the rim a lot, but due to a lack of spacing, due to how many shots they try and shoot the rim, even shots that aren't really there, they don't finish well at the rim. But it doesn't have to be the rule. Memphis is the best finishing team in the league. They have the 19th best three-point percentage. They get to the rim the 12th most, right? So there definitely is some correlation there. But still, there are other teams that shoot the three ball really bad that don't finish that poorly at the rim, right? Washington is the second to worst three-point shooting team. Worse than us. The Blazers are actually 24th, which is an accomplishment. But Washington, despite how bad they are, they have the 14th best rim finishing percentage. They get to the rim an average amount. All right. So Utah, also another bad team, 22nd best three-point percentage, but 13th best percentage at the rim. They shoot the 25th most shots at the rim, so they don't shoot that many shots there. I guess that begs the question, should the Blazers be trying to force this many shots at the rim? Should they be shooting more threes? I don't know. 57% from the rim isn't like terribly inefficient compared to shooting a bunch of mid-range shots. By the way, the Blazers have the worst mid-range percentage in the league, but they don't shoot that many of them. It's just kind of tough. Like, okay, should they shoot less at the rim? That means probably shooting more threes, but is that a good thing for this team? Also, if they were actually successfully running, you would think that they wouldn't be second worst in rim finishing percentage, because that's how you get easy buckets at the rim, is getting out in transition. It's just a really interesting statistical trend, and it's something that needs to improve. And it's like you look at players' efficiencies, and that's why I don't think you can judge players like finishing just solely off their percentage, especially on this team. And that's why like somebody like Scoot, man, he isn't efficient right now, but I wonder if he had more spacing and had a better situation around him, I kind of feel like he'd be finishing much better at the rim and look much better, and people would be higher on him as a prospect. So just some food for thought.
I don't know. His touch around the rim is pretty rough in terms of he's got like no spin or like.
I think he's gotten a little better with that this year.
Yeah, maybe, but it's still more just. I think it's the way he's positioning his body is better. I don't think his. Like,
I mean, he's shooting 53% on layups, which is like average compared to the rest of this team.
Yeah,
and he gets there the most, so he's shooting the most attempts. So that's where I wonder, like, if he had more spacing, what's that number at? Considering how he's shooting 4.5 layups per game, that's one more than the next closest guy, which is Sharp.
Yeah, I think like shooting more or less, it's just depend. Like, where's Dallas on the list? I'm curious. Not that they played well this year, but
in terms of what stat?
Like shoot shots at the rim and percentage at the rim.
They have the 20th most attempts at the rim and the 4th best rim percentage.
I was gonna say because they don't necessarily shoot a ton at the rim, but they get like. I mean, you saw those pinpoint passes Luka has, like, to someone, and it's like an easy dunk.
Yeah.
Like, I think that is the best case for, like, Scoot is to be that type of player where he's just so money on those lobs that it improves our percentages that way.
Yeah, it's just tough because he's not as big as Luka. Luka can throw it over the top easier.
Yeah, but like you mentioned,
they're also the 14th best three-point percentage team.
They are. That's after last night. They weren't going into last night. But I do think. I mean, it's encouraging that he is getting to the rim that much without good spacing. So.
You know what's also crazy is he shoots twice as many layups per game as Ayton in 26 minutes per game, and Ayton plays how many minutes per game?
That's what I'm saying. If we had a big that was more of a rim running big, I think it would really help our percentages, and it would help those guys not have to shoot every time. They could do those little mini lob ones.
I think like Robert Williams is getting 3 layups per game, and he's playing in fewer minutes than Ayton, right? So that's an example. Klingon isn't helping with that. His finishing definitely has to improve. That is the number one area that he has to improve sooner rather than later, because you should not be shooting 46% on layups as a 7'2" big. But he's a rookie, so you get it.
And Aiden's been showing up, or not Aiden, Klingon's been showing up on all the like top 10 defensive rim protectors, top 10 defensive playmaker list. That's nice to see. But yeah, he's got his evolution. Like if he can become like a serviceable finisher on offense with those defensive skills, then we're really talking.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, upcoming schedule. Post-game show tomorrow after the Blazers take on the Clippers. That's NBA Cup. That will be a late post-game show. Its tip-off is 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. Most likely going to result in consolation games on the 12th and 15th. But maybe the Blazers get lucky and the Utah Jazz can beat the Thunder. That's not happening. I mean, let's just be real here. Anyway, we'll have that post-game show for you guys tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to that. And then we'll have a couple days off. We'll have picks against the spread again on Thursday, and then we'll have a post-game show on Friday. That'll be shot night. So that's what's coming up for the channel.
All right. Let's see if Tori blows out his eye again.
Blows out my eye?
Your blood vessel in your eye or whatever.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that at all. Anyway, appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Good luck in picks against the spread. We are out of here. We'll catch you tomorrow night on the post-game show. Until then, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.